This is a class for our grade 2 and under class for Sunday school. And I'm so glad to get to see you, even though I'm not seeing you the way that we've gotten used to seeing each other, which is being together in a virtual room, right? Being together in our Zoom classroom. Because today, on Sunday, November 22nd, we have what we're calling a drive-by Thanksgiving event at our church after the virtual worship service. And so we know that many of you might be going with your families to do that. But whether you are or you aren't, we didn't want to leave you with no class experience, no special time for you. So this is still a special time for you, even if we're not together in the Zoom classroom like we're used to. So I'm just so glad that you were sat down to watch this video. You know, I wanted to grab a few things. I wonder if you want to grab a few things too. If you have the materials from your Sunday school supply crate, you might want to grab those. And maybe you want to grab some art supplies too, maybe the crayons from your supply crate, or maybe something else. So I'm going to just take 1 second to go grab those supplies myself. And I'm going to invite you to do that too. Maybe you already have them. So if you already have them, that's okay. Just sit tight. We'll be right back. And if you don't have the regular Sunday school supplies, you can also just get maybe some drawing paper, some plain pieces of paper, and some crayons or some markers, and we'll have a little work to do together. Okay, I'm gonna go get my art supplies. I'll see you in a minute. Okay. Great. All right, I was able to find my supplies from my supply crate. I have some markers here, and I also have my box of crayons here. And so whatever supplies you have, that will work just perfectly. And so I'm going to invite you, if you want to, we have a couple different coloring pages that we've been working on together as we've been going along learning about the Beatitudes, don't we? And so I'm going to invite you to take a look and see if there's one that you haven't been working on yet. So I see, and I'm borrowing Emmett's for a minute, but I see that he finished this page. This is the very first one we started. This one says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Remember that lesson? So you can keep working on that page if you haven't done it yet. And then he has this one here. Maybe you've already done this or maybe you haven't. You can choose. This one says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." That's this one. And there's another page too. This one's getting a little bit ahead. We're going to be doing this lesson next, but if you want to take a look at it, maybe don't start to color this one yet. But do you see this last page says, "Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account." And then it says, "Rejoice" at the bottom. Maybe save this one. But you can choose either of those other two as I'm talking, or you can also just work on a little picture while I'm talking if you want to. I'm going to invite you, if you're just going to do a picture. Oh, I meant to show you that you can also work on these. These are on the backs of what's called the family pages in your packet. And so you can work on any of these if you want to. This says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." You can work on that one if you want. And there's also, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." Remember we talked about that? Do you remember what all these different blessings are called? The Beatitudes. That's right, the Beatitudes. And we've been learning together about the Beatitudes, these blessings that Jesus offers. Do you remember in our class, you know what I should have done too? I just thought of something I should have done. Because most of you who are watching this are probably part of our virtual Sunday school in our grade 2 or under class, but I just realized that because this is on our Facebook page and our website, we may also have some friends watching with us who aren't usually in the class. And so I think that I should have started by saying that my name is Julie, and I'm one of the ministers at First Baptist Church in Beverly. And I get to work with our children in our youth ministry. And I am so glad to be here with you today. I should have said that at the beginning. So I'm glad that I thought of it now, so at least I could say hello to you that way now. So, do you remember what we've been talking about together since we started our Sunday school year this year? We said these are called the Beatitudes, right? All of these sentences, these phrases that start off with blessed are, or blessed, you could say blessed are. And do you remember who said all of these things, these phrases that we've been learning about and talking about? Think back. Let's think about the lessons that we've done so far. Do you remember we said we were imagining that we were doing what? Anyone remember? What were we imagining we were doing? Climbing up a mountain. Very good. And we said there's lots of ways to climb the mountain. I'm kind of doing what we've been using as sort of a rope, like a rope climbing up the mountain. What are some other ways that we've gone up our mountain? Oh, yeah, thank you. We've just been walking, brisk walking, right? You can walk very briskly up the mountain. What's another way? I think we've been like rock climbing up the mountain. I remember Abby helped us think about rock climbing up the mountain last time, and she said sometimes when you're rock climbing, you even almost go upside down. You feel like, then you keep going, rock climbing up the mountain. And we even learned that there are special wheelchairs that people use to climb mountains. And so we've been thinking about rolling up the mountain in our special wheelchair. You know what I think about? I think about how strong your arms would be if you are someone who climbs mountains in your wheelchair, right? It's really strong arms. Can you feel that? Feel that muscle in your arms? Yeah. And I think we had a few suggestions from some of you. You said maybe you could use walking sticks. I've seen people use their walking sticks to go up the mountain. So maybe think about planting your walking sticks. Well, yeah. So we've been thinking about all these ways to climb the mountain, to imagine ourselves climbing up a mountain and getting to the top and sitting down with a crowd of people to listen to who? Do you remember who we've been imagining or listening to? Jesus. You have good memories. We've been talking about Jesus. And Jesus is the one who tells us all of these blessings that we call the Beatitudes. Sometimes people call this story from Scripture the Sermon on the Mount. That makes sense, right? We know what a sermon is, don't we? A sermon is something that we're used to, maybe a minister, Kent or Jamie or me, saying as part of our church service on Sunday. It's kind of the longest part of the message. It's what we are sharing as a word from God that we hope will resonate, will help people. That's a sermon. And why do you think they call this Jesus' Sermon on the Mount? What's a mount? Oh, you're right. A mountain. Just like we were just imagining climbing up, right? A mountain. So sometimes we call the Beatitudes the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus is there with the crowds. You remember? We've been imagining. What do you see when you look around? Let's imagine. What do you see? I'm looking. Are you looking to? What do you see? You see trees off in the distance? Me too. What else? You see blue sky and clouds? Me too. It's a good one. What do you see? Oh, the sun. Yeah, if it's a sunny day. Maybe we could imagine we see a rainbow. Do you see a rainbow? I think I see a rainbow. Yeah. What else do you see? Some animals? I see some birds. Do you see some birds? Me too. Oh, I think I see, I don't know, maybe I see like a wolf? I'm not sure. Do you see it? I don't know. Well, and I see a lot of other people. Do you see the other people? Because when Jesus did this sermon, there were crowds. It says in the Bible, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain. And then his disciples were up on the mountain too, and Jesus began to teach the crowd. And that's when he said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Remember that one? And remember, you can be coloring or working on your picture while I'm talking too. So if you haven't started yet, you can dig right in. You can be doing some coloring while your ears are listening. Sometimes that helps my ears to do listening when I'm doing something else at the same time, making some art or doing some coloring. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Remember we talked about what it means to mourn, to feel sad, to cry. We talked about what it feels like when we feel big emotions and we feel sad. And Jesus is saying, it's okay to feel those feelings. God's love helps comfort us. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Remember we talked about Jesus was talking about maybe the people who felt like they didn't have power or a lot of money or they don't feel important. And Jesus is saying, we might feel like those people, they might feel small, but they're really so important to God. Everybody is so important to God. You are so important to God. Those are the ones that we had learned so far. We're going to be learning some more Beatitudes, some more of this Sermon on the Mount when we get to after Christmas, believe it or not. You might be thinking, why do I have to wait till after Christmas to do more learning about this sermon that Jesus taught on the mountain? Well, I'll tell you, the reason is that next Sunday, we enter a whole other time in our church year. We enter a time where we count 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 to Christmas. 4 Sundays that we count to Christmas. I wonder if any of you remember what we call that special time of year in the life of the church. Can you help me? I know it starts with an A. And I know it rhymes with Lent, which is the season that we count towards Easter, but it's not Lent. It's Advent. Yes, thank you. You helped me. Yeah, so next Sunday, we're going to be starting Advent. So today, while you're working on your Beatitude pictures, and we're catching up a little bit, and maybe just doing a little thinking and reviewing in our memories about what we've learned so far about Jesus and how he taught the people, the crowds of people on the mountain, and how he was teaching about God's incredible love. I wonder if any of you are thinking about something that you love, about the way that God puts love in each of our hearts. God shares love with us, and then we get to share it so big with the whole world. So you can keep coloring, but something that I'm going to ask if you want to work on today is to also draw a picture or write about, if you want, or just tell someone else in your house about something that makes you feel all that love that you want to share. And so that's kind of different. We've been learning about how God's love for us that Jesus preached is so big. It's like a big hug, like if you hugged yourself. But we take that love, and then part of what Jesus teaches and what God calls us to do is then take it and then put it out into the world. So I'm wondering if you want to think today about somebody or something or some place where you put some of your love. Where do you direct your superpower love out into the world? And maybe take a few minutes and make a picture about that, or write a story about that, or tell somebody in your house about that. But I would really love to hear about where you put your superpower love out into the world. So if you do draw a picture, or you do write a story, or you ask a grown-up to record you telling a story on a video, maybe on their phone, I would love if you would share it with me. You could post it in the comments, have a grown-up help you, of this video, or you can email it to me. I'll give you my email address for your grown-ups. Is that okay? It's jflowers@f, as in Frank. That will help them figure out. Sometimes our letters sound similar to other letters when we say them, don't they? F as in Frank, B as in boy, and C as in Charlie. fbcbeverly.org. And if they could help you send your pictures, your drawings, your stories, your videos of yourself talking about where you take all that love that Jesus preaches about, that God has for you, and then you respond to God's call by turning it around and giving it out into the world. Who's the person? Who's a thing, an animal or an object? Where's a place where your love is needed, where you share that love? I would love to hear about that. Because I think when we're talking about the Beatitudes and we're learning about Jesus, it's important because we're learning about stories of and from our faith, right? Stories that we find in the Bible, stories about God's love for us. But what they really tell us is something about how we're supposed to live. That's what we're really trying to figure out, right? Jesus teaches us all these things about God and God's love that help us know how to live a life of love. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. The Beatitudes are about that too. All the blessings that God offers, and then what we do to share them. So I'm going to give you some time to work on those things, either your coloring of the Beatitude pictures or your picture or your story about your superpower of love. But before we end, and you can have as much time as you want to do that work, right? Before we end, I wanted to talk to you about something that I am so excited about that's coming up. Remember we said that Advent is starting soon? Well, I can't wait. This is just a little reminder. In your Sunday school supply crates, we gave you last month this Advent photo a day calendar and a camera. Remember? The cameras are like a disposable camera. They have real film in them. So remember that when you go to use it, you just take one picture each day because you can't delete them. I know that seems really strange. It's different from how we're used to taking pictures now. And the kind of other cool thing, you won't get to see what it looks like until we get it developed. So it's like a special Advent surprise all its own. But we have this calendar where every day we have a word. This starts in December. So Advent starts the 29th of November, but this is a December project. So this is going to be starting on what's really like the third day of Advent. And there's a word for each day as we count down to Christmas, which is remembering the birth of, help me out, the birth of Jesus. Got it? You have such good memories for these stories. So we're counting down the 4 weeks to the birth of Jesus, and we're going to help ourselves count down through the days with this Advent photo a day mission. So every day there's a word. The first one is awake. You are going to take your camera, and if you don't have one of the disposable cameras we gave you, you can even have a grown-up help you. You could use their phone camera, or maybe you have a camera at your house. You are the artist. You decide. What makes you think of the word awake for that first day of December? And you're going to look around in your house or in the world, and you take a picture of it. And then the next day, it's proclaiming. Like how we might share good news. We proclaim it. We share it. We say it. We shout it. We're excited about it. Something that makes you think of the word proclaiming. You take a picture. This is your chance to be the artist as you count down to Christmas. I can't wait to see what you take pictures of. And then we're going to do an art show. And we'll display all your Advent art with all of you amazing artists. So that's something that's coming up. You don't have to start that now. I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek because I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to see what you take pictures of. But for today, I have really enjoyed getting to talk to you a little bit and to remind ourselves about the Beatitudes, the blessings that Jesus talked about on the mountain, to remind ourselves what it was when we were looking around, imagining being up there with all those people, and then to think about the way that the Beatitudes are teaching about God's big love for us. And then we're going to think today, even after you and I are done talking now, about how you take that love and put it in the world. So I can't wait to see what ideas you come up with. Because you know what? I already know that you're putting so much love into the world. I feel it even every week on our Zoom calls when we do our virtual class. When you talk together and when you're together in your class, there's so much love there. So I can't wait to hear all your ideas. The world is really lucky to have all your love. And we're really lucky in our church family to have you. We're really lucky to have all your love too. I hope you feel all our love as well. So I hope that you have a good Thanksgiving, and then I will look forward to seeing you back in our virtual classroom next Sunday, the 29th. Now, if you are a friend watching this who's not already part of our virtual Sunday school, you can go to our website at www.fbcbeverly.org, choose the Sunday School page, or just go to /Sunday School on that web address, and you can register for virtual Sunday School right there. And then I'll send you all the information that you need. Thank you so much, my friends. I feel better and more full of love just being together here in this time with you. Have a great week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.